Imagine being the king of an entire industry, thousands of stores, millions of loyal customers, and a brand everyone recognizes. Now imagine losing it all to a small startup that most people didn't even take seriously. This is the story of Blockbuster and Netflix, a story about success, missed opportunities, and the cost of ignoring change. Back in the 1990s, Blockbuster was unstoppable. At its peak, it had over 9,000 stores around the world. For most people, Friday night meant one thing: going to Blockbuster, walking through aisles of DVDs, and picking out a movie for the weekend. It wasn't just a store, it was an experience. But behind all that success, there was a problem. A huge portion of Blockbuster's revenue came from late fees. Customers were constantly being charged extra, and while it made the company billions, it also created frustration. Still, Blockbuster didn't see any reason to change. They believed their dominance would last forever. Then, in 1997, a small company called Netflix entered the scene. At first, it didn't look like a serious threat. It was just a DVD by mail service where people could order movies online and have them delivered to their homes. But Netflix had a different vision. No late fees, no store visits, just convenience. Instead of making money from penalties, Netflix focused on making the customer experience better. And while Blockbuster relied on its physical stores, Netflix quietly built its business around the internet. It was slow in the beginning, but it was smart. Then came the moment that changed everything. In the year 2000, Netflix approached Blockbuster with an offer. They were willing to sell the company for just $50 million. Blockbuster's executives didn't take it seriously. They laughed it off. They couldn't imagine a future where people wouldn't walk into stores to rent movies. That decision would later become one of the biggest mistakes in business history. Because while Blockbuster stayed comfortable, Netflix kept evolving. In 2007, Netflix made a bold move. They introduced streaming. Suddenly, people didn't have to wait for DVDs anymore. They could watch movies and shows instantly, anytime, anywhere. This was the turning point. Netflix didn't just adapt to change, they led it. They invested in technology, used data to personalize recommendations, and eventually started creating their own original content. Meanwhile, Blockbuster tried to catch up. They launched their own online services, removed late fees, and attempted to compete. But it was too late. The world had already moved on. By 2010, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. A company that once dominated the market had completely collapsed. And Netflix? It grew into one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world. The lesson here is simple. Success doesn't guarantee survival. No matter how big you are, if you ignore change, you risk becoming irrelevant. Because in the end, it's not the strongest companies that survive, it's the ones that adapt.